Today I am sitting down at Solace Bar with a Kayteyte producer and DJ whose music bridges the desert and the dance floor. Through blending field recordings, vocals and synthesizers, her sound leans into prog, house and electro and draws upon exploring connection, spirit and place. She's played at major festivals like Pitch Music and Arts, Strawberry Fields, Splendor in the Grass and Laneway, and is currently touring around the country showcasing her new EP, It's All Here. Beyond music, this artist founded Common Ground First Nations and helped launch First Nations Futures initiatives focused on storytelling, cultural education, and redistributing power back to First Nation communities. Through her art and advocacy, her work continues to build genuine connection. I'm lucky enough to be sitting down with RONA.
Yo, good to be here. I feel like we've been trying to have this yarn for a long time, but you know what? It's happening in the right moment.
Yeah, I'm very stoked about it because this is actually the first time I've been shooting it at Solace. So thank you to the crew at Solace for allowing us to use the space. But I actually have the specific amount of time between our first message and this podcast. It was 2 years, 6 months and 17 days ago. There you go.
Time is just a construct anyway. It doesn't matter, right?
No, it doesn't.
The past, present and future are all intertwined.
But no, we have been trying to make this work for a long time, and it you know, to tee up things like this, especially when you don't live in the same city, makes it tricky, but the stars do have to align, and thankfully they have. It was always going to happen, but it was just a matter of time. I remember a couple of weeks ago when we ran into each other, we were just like, finally, it's happening.
Finally, it's happening. I also think I have more to talk about now.
True.
So the conversation will be better.
Yeah.
Like 2 years and however months and days you just said ago.
2 years, 6 months, 17 days.
I've been through many seasons
as
an artist and a creator and a community member, and yeah, I think there's more to talk about. So I feel wiser in my 29 years and yeah, ready to talk about things that I feel like I've been learning a lot recently and growing a lot in what I've been doing, as well as jumping head first or feet first, however you want to frame it, into music for the first time. And I think with that, there's been some interesting mindset shifts and things that have unfolded for me. So keen as to be here with you.
I'm very keen for you to be here too, but I just want to ask you, so are you now music full time?
I say that. I say full time, but there is no full time. I think in my lifetime right now, I have so many hats still. Like I left a role as a CEO in September last year, and in 4 weeks my contract completely ends as a contributor in that team. I've been doing coaching and supporting people, and in 3 weeks I will be full-time music.
Okay. Yes.
But things creep back in. Like I tell my family and everyone around me, I'm like, yeah, I'm full music. And it's like my managers will be like trying to get a hold of me. And I'm like, I'm just in a meeting. They're like, a meeting for what?
Mediating.
Who are you meeting?
Yeah,
I'm mediating. Yeah. I've still got my fingers in a lot of spaces. And I think as like a community member and someone who's just trying to exist within spaces and contribute to spaces, I'll always have so many things on the go, right? Like being all in on music looks like so many different things.
Yeah, it does. Even looking and you know, doing my research on you, like I'm like, wow, you have contributed so much in so many different ways. And you've been so, I'm just like thinking, I'm like, wow, it must be so busy. Like that's just where my head was at. Like,
yeah,
we'll get to all of those in a bit, but I want to wind it back. I usually start the chat with how we met. I think we met at Pitch that year that you played. I think that was the first time that we met. Played on main stage, which was really nice. I think
a Sunday?
I think so. Did you play on the Sunday? I can't really remember.
I just remember it was warm and toasty, and I think maybe I was second on, and it was a vibe.
It was a vibe. I remember you played that Renegade Master track. It's like a Lucas Boston remix, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember it vividly.
Good memory.
Yeah, and I remember being in the crowd with Tone, and you played one of your own productions on there, I think, for the first time, and it was epic.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
Did he go off? He probably would have been so
He did, yeah.
That's one of those songs.
Yeah, I think he grabbed me and shook me.
I can't believe I managed to get him to pitch. And to be honest, I don't think he's ever gone back.
Nah, no way. Yeah, it was he's like, it's too much electronic music, and it's just like there's just a kick drum constantly. I'm like, yes. But yeah, I want to wind it back. So early stages for RONA. So where did you grow up, and what was your first exposure to music and sound? I
was born on Gadigal country in Sydney and spent the first 7 years of my life there before moving back home to Mbantua, Alice Springs on Ardenda country. And it's an interesting question to explore because I feel like a lot of my world was explored through sound early on. I had a whole lot of eye issues. I was cross-eyed and I couldn't see when I was born properly, and I couldn't see properly when I was born. And I had a series of operations.
Wow.
And I think early on that experience, my brother often says this, that he kind of figured it out early that because I couldn't see the world like everyone else could, I listened in a different way, and my ears became really attuned to sound really early on. And I think that clocking into sound before I clock into sight is something that naturally, like when you have a sense that is less developed, your other senses develop more. So that is an interesting kind of reflection now. Like my life has been led by music and sound in so many ways. And I think early on that happened for me. But I guess in terms of the sounds that I grew up around, my musical journey started with a tissue box.
Tissue box.
A tissue box. There's going to be people that listen to this and they'll get it straight away. A tissue box. When I was 4 years old, I started learning the violin. And the first thing you start by learning with is a tissue box on your shoulder, and you literally go into your lesson and you put a tissue box on your shoulder and you lift a bow and you just hold it and then you put it down. And I reckon for about a year, all you do is you hold a tissue box under your chin.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So speaking from someone that has never played violin, there's obviously a bit of an art to that.
Yeah, you need a lot
So why do they want you to do it for so long?
I think it's grounding that kind of that foundation of getting the foundations right, getting the basics right before you move on.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's a particular method. It's called the Suzuki method.
Okay.
And I played violin. That was my first instrument that I picked up, and I actually decided I wanted to learn the violin, which is weird for a 4-year-old to turn around and say that, but my mum had played it and I think I wanted to be like my mum. So I requested that would be what I do, and I did it.
So from there, so you're learning violin. When did things start to take more of a serious turn for you in terms of wanting to explore music as something more serious?
I think like once you start that momentum, you just stay in it regardless of whether you enjoy it or not. Often I feel like kids, get pushed down this line. I was like classically trained and enjoyed it for a period, but then really didn't. Like when we moved home to Alice Springs, no one else was playing the violin. Like it was pretty obscure and bizarre. Like all my cousins running around, just listen to music and have fun. They weren't going to violin lessons, and there wasn't many orchestras I could play in. It was a really different context. As well as just I remember actually I was practicing in my dad's house one evening, and like I got growled by my cousin for waking up one of my pops for playing the violin. And I was like, I'm trying to practice. I'm trying to get better. And they just like, no one like connected to it, I guess. My family play lots of different music, and particularly, country and Western and desert reggae and rock, like all those amazing sounds that were coming out of the desert during the 80s and 90s. Like that's what I was raised within. Cool. Violin wasn't part of that story. Yeah. Violin was like another side of my family that didn't quite fit in. And I think that incongruous kind of nature of these two worlds colliding is, I feel like a lot of my life has been in that space of doing slightly obscure things for the context that I'm in.
Yeah, it's interesting how your surroundings contribute so much to your taste and kind of what goes on around you, like influences so much of what you do? Like it's like kind of like nature versus nurture sort of mentality, not mentality, but whatever you call that theory, I guess, winding back to uni. But when did you start to explore electronic music? So obviously that usually coincides with, you know, late to mid-teens sort of spec. But when did it happen for you?
Same, late to mid-teens spec. Yeah, I was playing in bands in high school and I loved it, but it was actually when I moved to Melbourne that I think electronic music really struck a chord for me. Like I'd listened to it previously. I loved everything that I was listening to and I was digging in a different way in that era, but never had I really experienced a live electronic show or like seen a DJ that was representative of the music that I was listening to until I was about 17.
What sort of music was it all?
It was all really, really different. Like I remember as I got, like I was really led early on by Triple J. Like I think as a kid growing up in a remote place, like that was predominantly where music was sourced. I was listening to Karma, which never would play electronic music. That's like the Central Australian Aboriginal Media Organisation. It's all like country, western, R&B. I was listening to what my dad would feed me, which was like punk music, rock, old school CDs and records that he'd come back from an international trip and be like, hear this. It was like the way that we'd bond.
Cool.
Which was really, really beautiful. But I think the first artist when I was probably about 16 that I really like became obsessed with who was making electronic music is actually Totally Enormous Extinct Dinosaurs.
Oh, nice.
I don't know what it was, like that era, you know, like as young people we were watching a lot of shows coming out of the UK. We were watching music that was coming from that kind of context, the things that we were watching and connecting to. And, you know, like your Crystal Castles, your Teed, like those kinds of moments were big formative parts of that journey of when I was in Alice starting to connect with music abroad that was electronic. And when I moved to Nam back when I was 17, I then just became pretty obsessed, became a bit of a club rat. And
what clubs were you hitting?
I would love to go to Lounge, Pleasure Planet.
Nice.
I was I actually don't even know if I think I may have been 17 when I was heading there and I had a fake ID. Crazy. I feel like so many DJs in different scenes have come through that era of like, you know, you're underage and you're in the club.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But really like fell in love with, I guess, synthesis. And I was a nerd. Like I was studying economics at uni. I love maths, like weird shit. And synthesizers was a way for me to continue to explore, I guess, that nerdy inner working of my brain.
Yeah.
So seeing, I guess, not just DJs, but people with like some Eurorack or like a couple of synths, like developing this beautiful journey that people would go on and feeling that pulse of the dance floor in that way really deeply moved me. And I bought my first synth and off I went. Yeah.
I remember the first time a synthesizer really like struck a chord with me, and it was when I was in a place called Lille in northern France, and I was at a festival and Stefan Bodson was playing, and I'd never listened to his stuff before. It was the first time. I didn't even know who he was. Like, well, I didn't know like anyone on the lineup. My knowledge of electronic music was so minimal at the time. I just remember hearing it and I was like, whoa, like it just, I don't know, it really just, struck a chord in my brain. It was just crazy and it attracted me a lot to it. I haven't gone down the path of learning it or, you know, playing it, but it's definitely evident within your music these days. I mean, it's one of the focal points with a lot of your tracks is, you know, you can really hear a lot of it. It's actually a nice segue into your productions. Obviously, you've just recently, in the back end of September, released the latest EP. It's All Here. I've listened to it front to back a few times. Very catchy. There's a few. I've actually got it in my head right now. Where do we go? Is that your voice?
Which song? You have to sing it louder.
Yeah.
Is that Show Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my voice.
Yeah, it's great. It's the EP itself, something that really like sticks out to me is it really forces like me to think quite introspectively. I don't know if that's what you were trying to portray. You obviously use a lot of field recordings and plenty of different sounds within there. What was kind of the inspiration behind this piece of work for you?
I really took my time getting to it, and a lot of it was conceptually explored before I even sat down on a synth or before I actually started writing. And it really came from this moment in my lifetime and in all of our lifetimes where we're seeing this contemporary race to space and extension of colonialism beyond the bounds of this earth happening at an alarming rate. You know, like even when I sit out on desert country, like I'm at home and I'm looking up at the sky, I can just see Starlink constantly just polluting sky country. And I think of Elon Musk, and I think of these billionaires wanting to head to Mars and give up on this place and move beyond the problems and the challenges that we face here and turn away from finding solutions and continue to extract and grow that extraction elsewhere. And, you know, I think it's absolute bullshit, like a lot of people.
Yeah.
But I think within the frame of looking beyond, you can push away from that and start looking within. And I believe that all of us have everything we need in the relationships that we hold to country, to each other, to place, and to the knowledge that our ancestors hold, whether you're First Nations, whether you're non-Indigenous, whatever your context, there's answers that we can find within our communities if only we put that energy here and keep investing here. So it's all here as an exploration of that, and the way that it runs, the production style, the process of writing has been an exploration of that. I feel deeply grateful that a lot of the writing could happen out on country in the desert, and for me, I've been able to have the support to tell the visual story of this work, not just the audio story. And as an artist, that is so exciting to me. Like I love, obviously, music and sound is such a huge part of it, but I want to build a world for people to be part of when they explore these themes and these stories that I want to share. And I feel really proud of this EP and thankful that it took me 3 years before I could put it out. Like between the two EPs, I took my time and spent time learning more about my process of how I want to create as an artist and really, I guess, settle in and grow strength and confidence in my own skills as well. I think that between the first EP and the second EP, I released a whole lot of singles, but I think I lost a bit of confidence along the way and I needed a bit of space to build that up before I was ready to go. Bam. Here it is.
I mean, it dips into a bunch of different kind of realms. It's got like a bit of electro, that, you know, proggy with synthesis. Obviously it's got spoken word and, you know, as I mentioned before, it's got, you know, field recordings in there too. How much does the place that you're in affect the work that you're putting out?
A huge amount. And I think looking at the catalogue that I've been building, if you're a deep listener, you can sense that I'm in a different place for some of it.
Absolutely.
Like Closure was written, some of it on country and you can hear that. And then this is my first EP, and some of it off country and you can hear that. The singles I released after were written in Nam and they're faster and they're harder. And like I was sitting like 134 BPM, which is actually just not me. Like low-key, it's not me.
Yeah.
Maybe it is in the future, but it's not me in this season. But it represented the season that I was in Nam, and the energy of this place and the energy of not just dance floors, but the tension and the diversity and the vividness of this place. Like you can hear that kind of, you can hear it. You can hear the buildings. Country is alive here just as much as it's alive in the desert. It just looks different. The energy of country is always present. But this writing, 4 of the tracks were written on Arunda country and 2 of them were written in London. And I feel like you can hear the expansiveness of the desert sky. The energy of the melodies that come through me and the way I write is completely different when I'm at home. When I'm at home, the sounds that come into my mind, or the way my fingers explore, or the way that I choose what's happening sounds different. But also in this EP, country almost became a part of the writing process. So when I'd get up in the morning, I would often like come out of the shower with a melody in my head, and I sit down and I write it, and I'm like patching it in, and it's sitting there and I'm looping it, and then I'll open up the windows and extend the sound out into country so that the birds can hear it and the wind can respond, and I'll just play it.
Wow.
And then you can feel this response and this shift in energy, and I'll chuck a mic out. Like I'll walk out into there's a kind of a plain and a hill behind where I'm writing at the studio, and I'll just start recording the birds, and they respond. They respond to the energy that I've put out, and that will then become part of the atmos that might sit behind something or sit quietly in the pocket of the sound that you can really distinctly hear. So that for me was a really beautiful process for parts of this EP. There was this Spinifex pigeon that kept returning.
Wow.
As I was playing things, and
Cool.
I'd keep sticking out a mic. I got a few videos of that little fella. He had a big energy, and that, I guess, reciprocal relationship with country is, I think, incredibly powerful and dynamic, and that's what country is. It's constantly changing and evolving and shifting its relationship with us.
Yeah, I mean, that in itself, the fact that like it's embedded within the EP is not only powerful, but like sonically sounds so nice, like when you're listening to it. Producing music and getting into these, I guess, flow states creatively, you know, you spoke about being able to, you know, think of a melody in the shower and then come out and write it. What happens when it's not going your way? How do you go about, you know, you spoke about this took 3 years to put together. How do you go about trying to put something together when it's not working? Like, do you step right away from it? What's your tactic?
I go through writing periods. I'm not one of those prolific people that writes all the time. That's just not how I work as an artist. I will spend like a couple of months not touching Ableton, not touching a synth, and then I'll lock into a few weeks, or I guess it's this season or era of writing that I'll go into. I find that the challenges that I have are less in coming up with ideas. It's refining which ones and completing the ideas, which I think is a pretty normal thing that a lot of musicians and producers face.
Yeah.
So that has been my challenge, is like the ideas are spewing out of me. I'll just be like, we're driving around humming. I've got voice notes galore. I've figured out recently that you can put voice notes into folders, and it's absolutely changed my life. So I have like a piano riff folder, or like a voice memo. Like I've got folders for different things. I just started a Meredith folder for Meredith that's coming up of all the songs that I want to write, just like little voice memos of, it's either like synth lines, and I'll be like, okay, this is like TB303 acid, and I'll be like, or it's like this idea for a vocal, and it's just endless ideas and endless Ableton sessions, which that's my challenge, is being able to refine and trust yourself. I think that I heard from someone that, maybe it was John Lennon that said this actually.
Shout out.
Me on it. Shout out.
Yeah.
Said that if you have an idea for a song and you start writing it, don't stop until you finish the song. Like actually just don't get up. You should just keep going and build this practice and habit of like continuing to the point of, it is as complete as it can be in that moment. Where I feel like I get this false dopamine hit where I'm like partway through and I'm like, oh, it's so good. I'm going to go make myself a cup of tea, you know, or I'm just going to go for a little drive, or like do a little Pilates session or whatever it is. But it's like the momentum and the energy that has been conjured in that moment has to continue, because ideas like melody ideas or songwriting ideas, they're floating all the time through.
You got to like ground them.
You got to ground them and grab them and hold them and hold them as close as you can for as long as you can. I've learned a lot from amazing producers over the last couple of years, and there's a producer called Strath who's based in London, who's an absolute legend. Shout out Strath. And he goes like in a session, he'll write and write. He'll write songs in like an hour, 2 hours, fully finished, ready to like don't even need to be touched again. Like they can just be sent off. But he developed this practice of being like, you write down all your ideas in your 16-bar loop and then you pretend there's a gun to your head. And you have like literally he will just punch out the arrangement in 4 minutes. And
Incredible.
It's like he's just got a practice of doing that, which is amazing. And I think so great to just grab the idea, harness it, hold it, and then put it down. And I really respect that, but it doesn't always work like that.
Yeah,
it doesn't always work like that for me.
Funnily enough, I actually Strath's dad is a colleague of mine.
Okay. All into the BPM.
Yep, that's it.
Also doing pacemaking work, technician work.
He's probably the most respected cardiologist in the city.
There you go.
Yeah.
He's
a boss. Shout out Neil. yeah. Love him. But yeah, we actually were chatting about Strath because he played at this epic wedding, which was in Georgia earlier this year. And Ella and I went to the hotel where that wedding was. It's in Kazbegi, up in the mountains. It's like the most beautiful place ever. But yeah, he DJ'd at a wedding there. Like he went to the wedding and was like DJing out on this like amazing, it's got like these snow-capped mountains in the background. It's like absolute goals. Anyway, yeah, at work, somehow came up in conversation and yeah, that was my bonding with the cardiologist over his son being a DJ. So yeah, I guess the two worlds do collide.
Worlds collide.
Yeah, we're talking about there's no overlap between my job and music, but it turns out there is.
There is. There's always overlap.
I want to talk to you about DJing. So obviously we've been speaking about productions and what they mean to you, but starting out DJing, obviously we have a kind of an idea of what we want it to sound like for the people you might be DJing to, but how has your DJing evolved over time from starting out to now? What's changed, do you think? Apart from obviously, skills and all of that, but
hopefully heaps. There's been some dicey moments.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've just let this go, but for a long time, maybe up until like 3 months ago, I'd describe myself as a baby DJ, and I feel like I've just made it to like primary school level. Like I just think that DJing is such an art form and there's so many different ways you can DJ. But to really, really be strong in your craft is, anyone can be a DJ, but to reach that peak level in which you are really strong in all the different facets that make up you as a DJ takes so long. And it's not something you can just do in a year or 2 or 3 or 4. It's a lifelong practice. And I didn't start out wanting to be a DJ. I really started in this production world and wanting to create music that authentically shared my energy and the stories that I want to share. And DJing kind of came along with that. But it's something that I felt deeply in love with, also acknowledging that it's a completely different art form. I first learned how to DJ in lockdown in COVID. I got stuck in Melbourne and I had this EP that I wanted to release and didn't really know like how I would share it other than, DJing was the way to go and trying to get gigs. And it's interesting looking at my journey as a DJ because a lot of the things that like make up me as a person have become things that are really like acutely important in my practice as a DJ. Like I feel like I'm slightly type A lot of the time and like to feel like I'm in control. So very early on as I was teaching myself how to DJ in lockdown, I just started looping things because I was like, I don't want the song to run out. So like, I need the safety of like having the security of the consistency of the loop, the control. So then I've just become this DJ that all I do is loop. Everything's looped. It's like quite bloody stressful. Yeah, when you got so many loops going, you got to like constantly like you're putting them in and out and like changing like if it's a full bar loop or half bar loop or 16, whatever. But that is like so representative of like how in life I want to show up as a person, is like someone that is able to hold control. But DJing has taught me so much about releasing control as well, which has been beautiful around feeling safety and things going rogue and things changing and the energy shifting and making mistakes and feeling uncomfortable. There's so many things in this practice that has like had to force myself to like, undo some of this conditioning. And like as a human, it's been like almost like a healing process, I'd say.
I mean, you're so right, because when particularly if you're playing at a different venue that you haven't played at before, you know, the equipment might be not what you're used to. The booth might be not good. The booth might be really good. You know, there's so many different variables that go into being able to do the craft to the best of your ability at that time. So yeah, releasing control, you really have to, because like if you don't, then it's just going to stress you out a lot, which it's funny. I was actually really, really similar to you in the fact that like I had to have a loop on everything. Like in my record box, it was like cue points with like everything. I had to make sure that like that was the spot. Then when I started playing vinyl and also got lazy with putting cue points in, it just allowed me to let things kind of breathe a lot better.
Yeah.
Like DJing, I was just like, I just kind of let the songs play out and like talk to each other a little bit if the blend's nice enough. If it's not, then like get it out. But but I got better at being like, okay, well, I don't have to do all this crazy preparation. Sure, I do put on some cue points if I know there's a really nice loop. But I used to have to do it with like every song of mine. Yeah. But now, probably over the last couple of years, it's like it's really gone out the window.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Yeah. I think I only have cue points at the moment for like where not to go in a song. I'm like, I'll have a song and I'll cue it. Like I'll have a moment where like there'll be a cue point. I'm like, why is that there halfway through the song? And then I'm like, oh wait, it's because something really hectic happens that completely changes the energy.
So it's like a warning.
Like a don't go.
Yeah.
It's like no. Don't go here, Rona. Just
that's quality.
But I love that I'm a looping gal. Like I don't hate it. It's just part of how I DJ now. I think that's really cool. Like how, you know, there's so many ways you can express yourself as a DJ. It's not just like in your selections and the way you like hold the room. It can also be like just like literally the way you use your decks. And everyone uses a mixer and like CDJs or whatever you're playing on so differently. And I love that.
Yeah. And it's funny, like when haven't done a lot of, you know, teaching. I've taught a few people a few things, but one thing I learnt was like there's so many ways to do it, so that there's a few like rules per se that are associated with it, I think, but overall it can be done in so many different ways. There's no like right or wrong way to an extent. And I found myself when I was teaching people, I found myself just being like, no, you've got to do this. And I was like, well, you don't actually have to. It's just how you do it. So it's, about like trying to actually show the basics and then let them find their own path, which I think.
And I think like honestly, that's been the biggest shift in me over the last few years of playing, has been that building that sense of like confidence to do it in my own way and not feel drawn to like what I notice other people doing or what I notice is done. Like I think that when I started playing out in the era that was like a lot of my music is like headphone listening, you know, or like it's not like you could sense in the way that I was creating music and the singles that came after the first EP that I was feeling this pressure to like hold the dance floor or like present in a particular way through the music so it could be DJ'd. And I think the biggest learning over the years has been like there's no one way to hold the energy in a room. And like what you see other people do doesn't necessarily, it's not going to translate the way that they might hold the energy and the styles of music they use to hold the energy. Like we all need to do it differently and do it in our own energy, and that showing up in myself, completely present in myself, that energy does wonders for the way that I can create space and hold the music in a set versus like the techniques or the styles of music or whatever. I feel like that being so grounded and present and channeling, I guess, my own energy is where I find the answers to be the best DJ I can.
That is well answered. Well thought out. You're someone that is really good at articulating your thoughts. You're like really good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's
a life of yarning. and a lot of introspection. Like I really reflect a lot and I'm constantly trying to deeply understand and reckon with so many different things. And that's been like my life's work outside of music has been around amplifying voice and telling stories and supporting people to tell stories. I think I've naturally gotten better at being able to articulate, my experience.
I feel that you're also very intentional with like everything that you do.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Do you like consciously try and approach it that way, or does that come naturally to you?
It's really interesting. I think that I have been raised to have a lot of care and to have a lot of care in operating with integrity and operating from my own lived experience and my own values and ethics. And I think that has naturally moved towards me making sure that every step I make is intentional, and it not necessarily has to be the right one, but it's one that's like stepped with like the full force of who I am, or like if I'm speaking from my chest, and that truthfulness and that deep expression has, I think, been something that I've just been raised within. And I think that as First Nations, like mob, all of us come from some form of that. But I think about like the gentleness of my family and the pace they move at as well. I think the intention that I have is like, comes from as well this pace, this kind of slow movement. Yeah, I'm not a super chaotic, like, whoa. I feel like my energy is here often. It's like down in the earth. And I think when I'm DJing at my best and I'm making music at my best, it's actually there. It's not cerebral frequency. It's really coming from this place. I've actually got I've got a song that I just wrote that is about that, like to the ground, how to return to the ground.
Really?
Yeah, I was reflecting. I was recently at a gig. I don't want to talk about which gigs because there were two artists playing in different rooms and they make really different music. But I was reflecting after it how one of the rooms I could feel the earth and feel the frequencies down here. And if I go into the other room, it was all up here and these frequencies. And I hadn't thought about that. But I do think that when we're expressing ourselves as artists and musicians at our best and full representation of our energy, like the music we play or make represents this frequency of how we operate in the world and like the energy that we're bringing to the world. Just like think about it over the next couple of weeks. And you're like, I don't know, you think about an artist who you've met and talked to, like how they speak and how they, the energy they might exchange with you here, and then the energy that they, like the music and the way their music sounds and the way they DJ. And if there's a mismatch, I have a theory that they're not fully aligned. That's my little theory. Maybe it sounds really woo-woo, but you know, when I'm making music in my best self, I know it's down here. But if I start making this really cerebral, like happy hardcore stuff, you can tell me I'm not feeling my vibe. Yeah,
okay. That's good to know. If I ever catch you making that, I might call you and be like, "You're good." Like,
nothing wrong with that music. It just doesn't represent my energy.
Yeah. But no, I haven't actually thought about it that deeply. So now that I have that on my radar, I will probably start to do that. I'll get back to you on that.
Yeah. And it changes too. That's the other thing is like we change as people and our seasons change and the place we're in changes, what we're influenced by changes. But I do think there is a pulse within us and a frequency that we all kind of feel most comfortable and drawn to as people, and it's all different.
I want to talk to you about common ground. It's something that's, I mean, for those people out there that don't know what common ground is, would you mind giving a bit of an insight into what it is, and then we can kind of dive a bit deeper?
Yeah. So it's a not-for-profit organisation led by First Nations people that I started about 6 years ago. It's a collective of mob changing systems through storytelling. So we work with First Nations people across the continent on storytelling projects, amplifying voice, embedding our knowledge within different systems and educating and building accountability. And it's been a huge part of my professional career so far, and has been a big chunk of, I guess, my energy in my 20s has gone towards that work and supporting thousands of mob to tell stories on their own terms, on their own lands. It's been a really special journey to be part of. And I am a reformed CEO. I'm no longer the CEO. I am the chair of the board, which I love. I feel so deeply proud of the work that we've created there and the legacy that continues with an amazing new leadership team.
That's fantastic. And I know that there's a lot of work being done in schools. And is it the bedtime stories?
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you want to elaborate on what that is? Because I really love that project. It sounds like it will be a lot of, I mean, working in schools is always great, but it's also from a systemic point of view, you know, education and storytelling from the grassroots and the young people of our generation, you know, that's where they're going to be the people that are going to help change it, you know. So I think that's comes with, you know, you look at some of the education being done with like consent these days, they're really targeting young students because that's, you know, they're going to be the people who are going to help change it all. So, yeah, talk to us about the First Nations bedtime stories. I want to know.
Yeah, it was the first big project we ran at Common Ground, and it was a response to a few things, the first of which is that our young people don't have as many opportunities to sit down with elders and learn stories that have been held since the first moments of time. And also within our education system, there aren't many stories that are shared from First Nations folk. And so we created this project where each year we work with a producer and a director who are First Nations from a specific community in place. It could be on Aranda country, it could be on Wurundjeri country, it could be in the Torres Strait Islands. And we essentially hand over money and resources and back them to record 5 dreaming stories in the form of short films. And it's amazing because it gives them opportunities to do capacity building and to have the opportunity to build credits in the storytelling ecosystem. You know, it's incredibly hard to get funding for films, but if you have more work that you've done, it gets easier. And then we take those films and we map them to school curriculum, and we create teacher resources, and it goes out to about 100,000 students each year who
100,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
Who watch the stories, and it really makes it easy for teachers to be able to bring these stories in and be able to create classroom activities around it in a safe and meaningful way. And the vision when we started, I was like, we should create a map, you know, like over time we can have this map of all of these public stories that have been recorded in community that are public in the public domain, so they're not secret or sacred. And they're obviously sacred, but like as in they're not closed stories, they're open stories. And that people can watch. So we've now got a map, and there's been, I think 25 stories now across the continent, maybe even more. Yeah, 30 stories this year.
Wow.
Which is so cool. And anyone can watch them, and people also watch them at home during the week when we release them. It's a really special project, and was a marker of, I guess, in that journey of Common Ground, recognizing how we could have this nexus in capacity building and amplifying voice, but also educating and building accountability, because young people are the leaders of the future, and they're so curious and open. And when they're in primary school and early learning, it's such an amazing moment to be able to create space for them to centre First Nations knowledges and perspectives, and for that to grow over their lifetimes. But as an organisation, we're always looking for different ways that we can do that, and not always really clear, I guess, major programs like that. We also have a series that, this is personally my favourite project, and I hope one day I get to do one of the stories. It's called Dreamy, and it's a series of sleep stories from First Nations poets. And the stories are about 10 to 15 minutes long. They use grounding techniques. People take you back to country. They speak to you in language, and it's surrounded by these beautiful soundscapes. And I think the frequency of the sound that comes through those stories, as well as the energy of the stories, is so healing and so special. But being able to centre First Nations voices and narratives as people drift off into dream, I'm like, that's pretty iconic. Like, it just is almost like subversive, centering of those voices. I haven't done one yet. One of the mainstays in the Naarm scene, Nayuka Gori has done one. They did one, I think, last year. But I hope I get to do one soon.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like an amazing project. With being a part of all of this, and you are still, on the board as chair, but being CEO, what do you think it taught you about leadership?
I have my own theories around leadership. I think I lead in a way that is really collective. Like, I'm the kind of person that I don't like to be the center of everything. I like to support pathways for other people to lead. And I think that to be an amazing leader is to back people to build collective movements together. Like, our world doesn't need more people standing up the front being the loudest. Our world needs more spaces in which we are in relationship, collaborating and supporting each other from the different nodes we might have within a system. And I think the journey with Common Ground, while I definitely had those values at the start, has really enabled me to practice that and to be able to build, like, now Common Ground has a collective leadership model where there's not just one person, there's multiple people leading.
Cool.
And I think that the way we solve the world's biggest challenges is by having people from different lived experience with different ways of operating, with different theories of change working together. So yeah, as a reformed CEO, I would say I never want to be a CEO again, because I don't think that style of leadership is what we need for the world.
Yeah, that's a fair call. I mean, based on what you just said, yeah, there should be a bunch of CEOs, really.
Yeah. Beyond that, like, in leadership, the main key I feel like we should be using as a driver of success is, like, how quickly are we making ourselves redundant? Like, the work that we're doing, the leadership that we're holding should not be something that extends forever and ever. Like, what role are we playing in uplifting other people to be able to step into the role that we've created, or abolish the whole organisation and space from existing because it doesn't need to?
That's an interesting thought.
I'll leave you with that one.
Yeah.
Make yourself redundant. Oh, it's like any social change initiative. It shouldn't exist. So how do you, like, make sure it doesn't exist in 10 years?
Thinking about changing systems and, the systemic change that a lot of the work that you've done contributes to, how do you think it intersects with music and your world of music? As
a musician, the work that I'm exploring in social change is constantly coming up in the stories that I'm sharing through my music and the energy of the way that I create. And the movement that we are in within Australia towards First Nations justice needs more music and needs more dance. And something that I learned recently, I was just on a trip to Southern Africa and I was spending time with this incredible elder called Graça Machel, Nelson Mandela's last wife before he died. Crazy, right? And so I was there with a delegation and her learning about apartheid. And one of the things that struck me so deeply while I was spending time with the resistors in Soweto, the Soweto 11, learning from these people that were just teenagers running student protests and overthrowing this oppressive regime, the role of song and dance in that movement and continuing movements was so integral to being able to achieve what they achieved. They have this dance called the Toi Toi. And when people are protesting, they are dancing, they're jumping up and down, there's music, there's vibrancy. And it's interesting because for me, I've always felt, yes, there's crossovers between music and the work that I've done in social change. And those crossovers for me have been storytelling. But I don't think until very recently I recognised how important music is in movement building, not just in holding space on the dance floor and collective spaces of, healing and expression, but actually in the movement building of the resistance. That is a huge role that music plays that I think as First Nations people we've seen before. I've been thinking deeply about, the land rights movement and this big era in the 80s and 90s where we saw so many Aboriginal organisations be built, so many of our elders and old people making insane amounts of change in a short amount of time. But what was the role of songs in that? Like I think of Blackfella Whitefella, I think of Treaty, and actually those songs were so powerful in coalescing this energy of not just blackfellas and our communities, but collectively across different lands from different nations with non-Indigenous people and folk from all walks of life. I believe that those songs galvanized big movements towards change. And I'm really curious now, as I step more into music, how can I be a part of that movement building through music? Like, what are the songs that we're writing over the next few years that galvanize the next movement for our generation and beyond?
Yeah, wow. Yeah, because, I mean, yeah, Treaty's like in my head now. You know, it's like it's but
Yeah.
I remember hearing that when, you know, I was really young, and like I think my dad might have played it or something. And yeah, I just remember like, yeah, that was one of the songs that he played that used to just stick with me all the time. And it's such a powerful song. I've actually got a really sick record. It's a Peace Division remix of that. And it's sick. Really, really cool.
Sick.
You've spoken about inviting, and you kind of did, I think, a little bit touch on it just then, inviting non-Indigenous people to kind of move beyond acknowledgement and deeply connect with First Nations experience through music. How do you think you're best able to facilitate that? Does that question make sense?
Can you say it again in a slightly different way?
How do you see...
I'm still thinking about the toy.
No, that's okay.
I'm thinking about dancing.
No. How do you see electronic music and your electronic music enabling that connection between non-Indigenous people, you know, whether that's playing in the club or, you know, through the headphones, and like, allowing it to move past just acknowledgement?
Yeah. Electronic music and genres create such an incredible space for limitless opportunities of expression. And a waveform can be many things, and it can be shifted to be anything. And like the way that electronic music, the energy of synthesis and waveforms can deeply impact people is incredibly powerful. And the storytelling that as blackfellas we've been holding since the first moments of time, the rhythms that our families use to soundtrack the sunrise, they're yet to be explored in electronic music. Like, you know, we have seen different producers over time. We've heard Yothu Yindi, we've heard the remixes, most of which were made by non-Indigenous folk. But, you know, people often like talk to me or ask me questions about, I guess, this growing First Nation scene here and how innovative and like it's exciting and we're on this forefront. I'm like, we're returning to sounds and stories and energies and waveforms that have always been here. And electronic music is an opportunity to express and amplify them in collective spaces. And I think that is so exciting. It's rather than acknowledging, like, you can feel this with us and experience this with us. And I think that for me, what makes me so excited about electronic music and the endless opportunities is that there's been such obscure genres that have come out of different parts of the world in different moments of time that are just so random and have just found audiences. And I think that the more of us mob return to our own sounds and the authority that our ancestors have held over those sounds, we're going to see some really incredible music come out of this place as we build momentum and feel that strength within ourselves. And we're so early in that. And I'm just so excited when we see, because when we look across this continent, so I've done a lot of work and I continue to do work around songlines and particularly Kayteyte songlines and supporting our anthropologists and linguists and our old people to work together to make sure that we keep singing songs, but also that they are held strong for hundreds of generations, thousands of generations into the future. And in learning more about song and songlines across the continent, and just even the structures of songs, like when you look at the structures of our songlines and the rhythms and the patterns and the melodies and the keys and the phrases that they're in, they are unlike anything else you've heard across the world. And that in electronic music, that is what I am so excited about. How do we bring our own songlines, the patterns and rhythms that our old people have held forever, into genres that haven't even been heard yet?
Yeah, wow.
And we're just at the start of that. Like I'm moving at the speed of trust because I know this work needs to unfold in the right ways, and it has to come from such a place of integrity and in strong relationship to old people and ancestors. And when those things are fully aligned and it does unfold, I'm so excited for what's to come in that space, because as I said, like electronic music is so deeply felt and so expansive in its possibilities. Like, I don't know, I feel like, you know, reimagining different genres of country and Western, like it's a lot harder to convince audiences. Electronic music, you can go so obscure and people will so deeply connect with it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not that our songs are so obscure, but then not what people across the globe haven't heard them.
Yeah.
And non-Indigenous people haven't heard them.
For sure. You mentioned trust. In some of your work, you've got spoken word from various people. How do you go with gaining that trust with that particular person and being able to use that within your music? Like, how do you go about, I mean, it's probably a deeper thing, that's that connection between you and that person, but is there, how do you kind of, because essentially that's bringing, you know, oldest living culture to a really modern thing and blending the two. How do you go about forging that relationship and gaining that trust off that particular person, or might be a particular instrument, and utilizing it within your work? Like, how does that work?
It's such a good question that I could yarn about for so long. In the best way, like, we have to move at the speed of trust and we have to have integrity. That's all we have in the end, is the trust that we've built with other people. And for me, I find it really difficult to reconcile my cultural values and ethics with a lot of the way that DJing and production and sampling has unfolded in the rest of other people's cultural context. As a Kayteyte woman, I only have authority to play very specific instruments. Like, I don't have authority to play yidaki. I'm not Yungu. I'm not from the top end, and I'm not a man. I have authority to play clapsticks. So my EP has clapsticks that I went out bush with some old people and made some clapsticks, and they form the basis of a lot of the percussion in the EP. I will always return to the sounds of the place that I come from and the relationships that I hold, because that is my identity. That's my knowledge, and that's the only authority I have. I can't speak for any other place or any other person. So this, the process of the music creation and where things come from is more important to me than what it sounds like in the end. You know, the process of the journey you go on and the relationships you hold and the knowledge that's shared, they're the beautiful moments, not necessarily like the moment that it's pressed onto vinyl and it gets shared beyond. It's who came along the journey and what was built in your relationship with them. I've collaborated and drawn from samples from people that aren't Kayteyte and aren't in my family or community. And to do that, have had to build trust and move slowly and check things again. And I think a lot of the work that I've done outside of music has taught me about the right ways to do things, the proper ways to do things. And a lot of songs and moments that I wouldn't share in a set because I don't have, there isn't that full consent yet, or it doesn't feel right. Like I find it really difficult, this kind of context of the way samples are drawn and sample culture is unfolded, because it's such an important part of DJing and music creation and the culture of many different scenes. And it's amazing, but we've had so many examples of people just going on freesound.org and ripping blackfella sounds and putting them into their music from other parts of the world, really sacred sounds that they don't have authority to use. I was listening to an album of an artist who I deeply respect, and I remember listening to it and there was a sound that came on that made me sick. I had to put down, like, I've stopped listening to it and I haven't listened to the rest of the album since. It was the sound of a bull roarer. It's like it's a sound for men, initiated men, and I'm not meant to ever hear it, but someone had gone onto a random place to sample and just put it on their song, and it was the Aboriginal sound that they put into it. And
really? Wow.
yeah, like that kind of process doesn't align with me, and also it's, extracting from cultures that people have no connection to.
Yeah. My head's kind of exploding in terms of like the whole samples things, because there's so many songs out there that sample parts of the world that, they don't have any connection to at all.
And then how does that sit ethically? Like for me, it doesn't sit right if you don't have relationship. For me, everything has to come from relationship, but that's not how everyone operates. And but that's, for me, my story, I would only draw from things that I can hold relationship with, because everything is relational in my world. But for other people, relationship looks different. And sample culture is such an important, integral part of the way that different genres, different scenes, different dance floors have grown and shifted. But it doesn't align with my cultural values and ethics for me in the way that I create. But, working with a black fella and sampling a black fella, that's fine. Actually, there's a bit of sampling going on in one of the tracks on the recent EP.
Which one?
The Blacks.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Blacks. It's that is the catchiest.
I sampled my nana.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a sample of my nana and a sample of Large Manu Teenage Band, a live performance of them playing guitar. I wanted to bring in this era of desert rock music.
Cool.
And so there's a guitar sample.
That's what you were exposed to early, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so cool. Yeah, I need to it was literally my last played thing on Spotify, but I need to go back and listen to that again. But yeah, should be very proud of that piece of work. It is really, really, I feel it's one of those ones that you listen to all the way through and it just feels really complete in a way. Sometimes you listen to an album pretty rarely. Most albums I listen to I really enjoy, but like there's sometimes you're kind of like, oh, I feel like there's something missing.
Wasn't rounded.
Rounded. Yeah. I think yours is really rounded. It's got like a mix of, it makes you think quite introspectively but also, there's some, really punchy kind of club tracks in there as well. Well done. Should be very, very proud of it.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
We are on the back end of the chat. There's just a couple of really important questions I need to ask you before we get on to the quick fire questions.
Yeah.
So I hear that you're pretty particular about couches. How are these? Are these okay?
These are actually pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Someone's giving you intel. Do we let the listeners know what we're talking about? Or just like I'm particular. I'm particular about everything.
But you're currently couchless.
I'm couchless.
Because of your particularness.
My particularness. Well, I'm trying to fill a house in Alice Springs, just outside of Mbantua on Aranda country. And you just can't get anything into Alice. Like you have to ship everything in or truck everything in. So expensive.
Yeah, I was going to say
so
it'd be
every
pricey.
decision has to be like
True.
on the money.
That's true.
So yeah, it took a very long time to decide on the couch.
Have you got one?
Yes, it's been ordered. It's going to take 45 days to make it
Okay.
to Alice Springs. But
Wow.
I hope it's comfy because we haven't tried it.
True.
Chosen the colour.
What colour?
It's a pretty bright kind of like Ceylon kind of greeny turquoise blue.
Nice.
Very loud. It's so good. This is Italian. I'm obsessed. It's an Italian sofa called an Amphibio. And yeah, it's built to look like a life raft.
Cool.
It's from many years ago. Anyway, I'm obsessed.
Nice.
You can come sit on it sometime.
I'm keen.
If anyone's allowed to.
Yeah,
I had
true.
to choose a couch that was like indestructible because my dad will sit on the couch. Like he's absolutely going to move into my house and camp there for decades. And he'll sit on the same couch for just like months. So it's got to be ready for wear.
Got to be
and tear.
durable.
Yeah.
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 Is it true that you sit really close to the steering wheel?
Oh
when you
my
drive?
Do you get all this intel before you do this with other people? You do. Yes. I sit like literally like this. And I'm tall. Like,
Yeah, I know.
I'm
Yeah.
a big girl. Yeah. Really, really close.
Why?
I think because it makes me feel like I'm more in control.
Yeah, okay. It comes back to that control
Let
thing.
it go, girl.
Yeah, you got to let it go.
Music has been teaching me to let go of control.
Next minute, you're
Relinquish
going to
it.
be rolling like seat back, one arm, fat arming out the
I
side.
do have like this old gold Camry that really calls for it.
Yeah, I can see you. That is quality.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now on to a few quick fire questions. It's called Ricky's Quickies. Don't want you to think too much. Just answer with your heart.
Yeah.
Whatever comes
Oh my
to
gosh,
mind.
I've never heard these before. I would normally prep and like hear them before, but we're letting go of control.
Yes, we are. Producer or DJ for the rest of your life.
Producer.
Favorite place you've ever played?
Wide Open Spaces Festival, Eastern Utternah Country, just outside of Alice.
I had a friend that went to that and said it was incredible. You played at that year, actually.
Oh,
Yeah.
Maybe it was me.
Yeah, it probably was. No, I'm not even going to try and think. There was a particular artist that was from an international artist that played a techno set. I think it was really incredible.
Oh, I can't remember. That's
yeah.
terrible of me.
No,
was just
it was
there
a
for my
few. It
show.
was like what, 2 or 3 years ago though, wasn't it?
2 years ago.
2 years
yeah.
ago.
Well, I actually played there when I was 15 in a band.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. There you go.
Yeah, it was our first big gig. So cute.
That's epic.
Yeah.
Last meal on earth.
Oh my God. I'm massive on food. That's too hard. Don't do
Sorry.
me dirty like that. Lang Shao noodle soup.
Nice. What's your dream back to back?
Oh, actually, I think I'm doing it. Me B2B Mokhtar next month.
Really?
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah. That's going to be really fun.
Where's
I
that?
actually haven't done a back to back since my first gig.
Really?
Well, not like a build one. Oh, no, I have, actually. I lie.
Where's the one with Mokhtar?
We are playing a very exciting conceptual gig that CC's put together called Back to Beyond, the Roundhouse in Sydney.
Cool.
I think it's like Courtney goes with Mocky an hour, Mocky goes with me for an hour, and then I go with Aya Batonye for an hour,
Wow.
and then Aya Batonye goes back with Courtney for an hour.
Cool. That's a great concept of
How
a party.
good, and it's round.
That's sick.
I don't know if this comes out before then, but get your tickets, guys. It's going to be pretty red hot. But like that's exciting to go, okay, meeting Mocky's energy for an hour and then going with Ibertonia for an hour and like changing it up as well. Like I think, and a round room. And like you've heard me talk a lot about energy. So I'm very excited about that dynamic.
That's going to be, that's a lot of fun. Cool concept. What's something you're currently obsessed with? Just in general.
What level of obsession? Because there's like
still horses?
Yes, horses. At the moment, it's Moroccan tiles.
Moroccan tiles.
The patterns of Moroccan tiles and the history of the patterns. That's so weird. Sorry, I'm not that. I'm not like, I'm quirky. No, I'm not.
That's good.
actually that weird,
That's
but like-
that's actually like the perfect niche of answer that I was looking for. Yeah, just like something random.
Like there's a history there of like the Roman patterns and they came and they clashed with African patterns. Anyway, currently I'm also choosing tiles for a table. So
Okay.
yeah, that makes
Fitting.
Yeah.
Are you likely to be early, on time, or fashionably late? Just in general.
I would say on time. My partner would say very late.
Okay.
Yeah. Like 5 minutes after.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dream artist to remix one of your tracks.
Leon Vinehall.
Nice. You could be any animal. What would you be?
Oh. I'd be that Spinifex pigeon. He's real quirky, like cruising around, listen to music. They don't really fly. They just like hang out in the Spinifex in the desert.
And sing?
Pardon?
And they sing?
They sing, yeah.
Yeah.
What a beautiful call. I love birds. I want to do a whole EP that's just all about birds.
Birds. Mm.
Yeah, just like from the perspective of the bird, sounds of the bird, everything's a bird. Freedom.
If you would describe yourself as a fruit, what would it be?
Papaya.
Papaya.
Good for the gut health.
Nice.
I'm good for you.
Weirdest YouTube rabbit hole?
God, that's hard. All I do on YouTube now is watch music. That's so boring.
It's not that boring. It's cool. That's
It's
fun.
cool.
It's better than just like crap.
Look, I went through a really weird stage in my high school, end of high school, where I became obsessed with Neapolitan pizza championships.
What is that?
So like in Naples, it's like the cult for like pizza making. You have to use a specific dough, specific cheese. It's like a whole thing. But you can watch the championships on YouTube and you can watch people making pizza from all across the world.
That's epic.
I mean, 400 Gradi held the title for like
Really?
years. Yeah. Don't have it anymore though.
Wow.
They lost their title. Anyway, I used to watch that on YouTube as like that was a big hole.
That's a great hole. Yeah. Ella's used to be, for a while, it was like the live space exploration.
Oh, yeah.
People. There's a live stream.
Yeah.
Just like watching them float around in this
sick.
International Space Station, I think it is. Yeah.
Love it.
Pretty cool. It's your last ever gig. What do you close with?
Well, I hope if it's my last ever gig, I'm really old and I'm actually going to close with Movements 3 by Leon Vinehall.
Nice. Shout out Leon.
I don't know why he's just in my mind, but actually that song, I was listening to it the other day and I haven't heard it in a long time, but it just brings this swell of good energy and good feeling in my stomach. And I love
that.
It feels like the season's changing, but it's closing. It's just, yeah. And like if I'm really old, this is not like a big stage, big hard and fast set. This is like, I don't know, I'm soundtracking like a sound bath or people meditating. It's chill. If I'm that old, I don't want to be at the doof.
True. That's a fair call, actually. Yeah, I've never really thought about it like that. What's coming up for you? You've got some pretty exciting things in the works where you're here tomorrow night, actually, at Solace.
Yeah.
Production workshops. That's exciting.
Yeah.
And then Sub Club on Friday. Is that right?
Sub Club Friday.
Yep.
And
With
then
Nat, with Dawes and Michaela Wadigo.
Yeah.
Is that right? That's exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
And then what else is in the pipeline for Rona?
I'm going back home for a month to the desert. Apart from that, back to Beyond show.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be writing again, having my writing stint with the Spinifex pigeon. And the doors may not be as open because it's going to be really freaking hot.
True.
It was 40 degrees today and it's only October. But yeah, I'm going to be writing. I've got a new EP that I'm planning on bringing out early next year.
Cool.
And just finishing that, but also getting ready for Meredith, which I'm so excited for. That was the first thing I wrote down when I started this project.
Really?
Dream place to play, Meredith.
Wow.
And so I get to do it.
That's incredible.
This year. And I think the stars are aligning. It's the perfect time. I feel ready and excited for what I can bring.
Yeah, it's all really aligning, isn't it? Because, yeah, a couple of releases into playing at what is, I mean, such an incredible festival. So many reasons. If you haven't been out there, you need to go. I love the fact that they don't have anything on social media. Like that's just something that I just...
It's so baller,
It's
isn't it?
so baller.
No, they don't
I
need
went to
to.
look it up the other day, the Golden Plains lineup that just came out. Also sick as. And I was like, found myself typing on Instagram. I was like, true, they don't even have it. I was like, oh, got to actually
They
go
don't
to the
need it.
website. Yeah.
I want
But
that
that's gonna be-
offline domain. I want to be as
How good would
offline as Arnie
How good
Meredith.
would that be? That would be quality.
So good. Can we pedal back like 40 years?
Yeah, it'd be sick.
Be an artist then.
I mean, there's a few artists out there that there's a rumor that Helena Huff doesn't even have a phone, but I don't.
No, I've heard that one.
Yeah, or like has a brick as a
I
phone.
want a letterbox.
A letterbox.
Like, I forgot someone was yarning about there's someone who just has a letterbox they check once a week,
Wow,
and that's the only way to reach them.
that would be epic.
I'd
Just
really like
message
that.
a pigeon.
Yeah.
Message a Spinifex pigeon.
Yeah. I just feel like protecting your artistry and creativity is sacred and almost impossible to do in this lifetime we're in.
It is.
That is the biggest challenge we're up against, is how to protect that.
Yeah.
And I haven't figured it out yet.
No.
My manager calls me like 3 times a day. Shout out, Scott.
Shout out, Scott. Thanks, Scott, for helping tee this up, by the way.
Thanks, Scott.
Yeah. we love you, Scott. No, Rona, it's been an absolute pleasure sitting down with you. Very, very lucky and grateful for your time. And yeah, it was really such a nice chat. I knew it was going to be a good one, but it somehow exceeded my expectations. So hope you had as much fun as I did.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Maybe we'll do another one in like 2 years, 7 months and 19 days.
Sounds good. Lock it in.